Hey guys, this is Matt for Creative. Today we're taking a look at my camera collection and where I'm trending to with photography cameras. Now, just as a precursor, when I use for video is also going to be kind of telling what I'm going to be using here for photography. I use primarily the DJI Pocket 2 and Osmo Pocket just because they are extremely pocketable and extremely reliable. But let's look at the first photography camera that I have here. This is the Canon M6 Mark II. Now this is a mirrorless APS-C. This is a cropped sensor camera with 32 megapixels. It is extremely powerful for how small it is, and the lens that I choose to keep on this is the Sigma 16mm f1.4. That means you're going to get a really wide look, and just when I shoot in the city or do street photography, that's what I'm really trying to get. I'm trying to get everything, but you do get a nice blurry background as well. Also, this means this is great in low light, and if I do choose to use this as a video camera, it's amazing in low light too, and the stabilization, even that digital stabilization, works out really well. Now, what I can do is I can put a spider clip on this and hook it into my pants, and even if it's a pair of shorts, it's fine. But this is getting heavy, so it's not something that I can take with me everywhere. What I want to do is have one thing that I can take everywhere. And why I choose not to use like a cell phone or everything, even with an app like the Moment app on my iPhone, capturing raw images, which is what I choose to do all the time so I can manipulate them afterwards, it just doesn't look quite right. It's not capturing all the information and doesn't have that feel that I like. I do like the way that Canon images look just right out of here, but I have to go afterwards and edit them anyway. But this is my best starting point. The next camera that I have is going to be the original M6. You'll know that it's different just because it's a little bit shorter than the second, the M6 Mark II. And what I'm choosing to use this one for is portrait photography. You can see here's a smaller lens. This is the Sigma 56mm, also f1.4. So great in low light, great blurry backgrounds, and the little size here is much smaller and it weighs a lot less. Now this little viewfinder here can be also put on that, so I do use these interchangeably. But it's good to have this and have this work with all my cameras. But two different use cases, but then again, this is a smaller camera. So if I wanted to switch these lenses out, I would still kind of have an overall smaller package with this. But again, not pocketable, can't just go to Target with this in my pocket, and it just doesn't work that way. So the next camera that I have here, these are all mirrorless cameras so far. This is the M100 from Canon, and has a little flip-up screen. What I choose to keep on here is the 22mm f2 lens, and this is great for street photography. It is tiny, but it is a fixed lens, and if you can see here, it kind of juts out. So this may be good for a jacket pocket, but it is not good for a jeans pocket or anything like that. So I love this camera, and I think it does well, and if you know how to use any type of camera, you can use any type of camera. At least for me, if I shoot in RAW, I can play with the image afterwards, and it works out fine. But this last camera that I recently just got used, this is the one that I'm going to be trying out for now. Now I've tried this out a little bit, and the image quality seems to be okay. Now this camera is kind of damaged, which I'll go into in a second, but there's a little bit, there are compromises for sure. This is the Canon PowerShot S120. This is tiny in comparison to this camera, which we'll see here. That's literally what it is. You can see how shallow this is, and this will definitely fit in a pocket. And even compared to the M100, it is much shallower because this, if you measure only the body, it's about the same thickness almost, but you have to consider that lens here, and that's gonna be a big difference. Because this, it shoots from an equivalent to 35mm, 24 to about 100 or so, and the lens just pops out. What I really like here is that this version has a touchscreen. So if I want to shoot something, anything, I can just tap on it. And that's what I've really grown accustomed to when shooting with Canon. Although I can always shoot and press that little trigger button, touching the screen, it works out so easy for me because all you do is just touch and go. It's what you're kind of used to with using smartphones nowadays, especially with my iPhone. That's how I really shoot. Of course, there is no hot shoe, there's no viewfinder, there's no anything here at the top, but I think this just, it works out so much. Now, unfortunately with this one, because I did get it used, I got it for about $180, I believe. When you zoom in, you will see that there is kind of something on the lens. If you look here, it's going to be fine. Now, I don't even know if you can see on here, but if you zoom in, you can even see it there. There's a black spot that's just there, and it seems like it's something you can't clean off, but I can always edit that out of photos. But look at this. This is tiny. This has a, again, what is it? 20, oh no, it doesn't say. It just says it's a zoom 5 times. Oh, this has image stabilization. So even if you choose to shoot some videos on here, which it does at 1080p at 60 frames per second, it's pretty smooth. And I do like the look coming out of this. It is wide. It's 24 millimeters, and that means it is technically wider than this lens here. And I forget, it's always a 1.6 times crop or something like that. I can never get that right. I believe that this is going to be about equivalent to as wide as this is. And again, look how big this is. Now I know it's not going to have the same quality because it is only a 12 megapixel camera, but literally it is this thin, it shoots RAW, it has a touch screen, and you can really, oh, my favorite thing is sticking it in AV mode, which means it has aperture priority. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this all the way down to f1.8 all the time, and it has good low light. Right now we have basically no light except for the light coming from here, and it's almost evening time, but you can even see this is seeing things really good. By the way, the Pocket 2 does see well in low light as well, but this is something that I can choose with me always. Now, it doesn't have a flip screen, but when shooting photography, I'm fine with it because I have committed to things like the Pocket 2, which you can flip around the camera front and back, and it really doesn't matter. So I don't care that this doesn't have a flip screen because this is going to be maybe an emergency video camera, but primarily it's going to be here for shooting stills. So for example, I'm going to take a shot of this, and that's literally it. It just shoots a tiny quick picture, and it is right there. And again, in RAW, I can play with things, and if things are blown out because it's too bright or too many shadows, I can really bring that in Photoshop or VSCO or anything that I would choose to use or you would choose to use. So I think that you should really look into the different types of cameras. And honestly, I'm going to try and shoot with this professionally. I'm going to get together with some people and shoot maybe next week, and we'll see exactly how this goes. I don't have any photography to show you in each, but if you want to really research each individual camera, you definitely can. And again, the image quality on here is great. Oh, by the way, you can always take a look at my Instagram. It's M8B9. A lot of the shots do come from this, but recently I have taken a few shots in Times Square during the snow with the predecessor, the S100, and this is even better than that. So I love how small this is. I can literally, I'm reducing everything in size. Last year I had an 11 Pro Max, the new iPhone. This year I have a 12 mini. Tiny, fits in my pocket. I have that wallet, MagSafe wallet on there. This goes in the other pocket. The Pocket 2 can fit in the same pocket, and then I got my keys, and literally I am set up. And if for any reason I get caught in a situation where I'm like, I need to film this, I can film this and I can take photos with this, and I can have the quality that I am going to be okay with to actually share these images and keep these as memories. Again, this is only 12 megapixels, down from 32 with the highest end camera here and 24.2 or something with the others, but I'm perfectly fine with this. You just have to know what to do and play with it. Now, there's a lot more things we can get into with each camera. If you have any questions about each, put that in the comment section below. But this is my trend and where I'm going, trying to keep things as minimal as possible, while kind of ignoring the fact of using my phone as the camera. But I do use that phone as the photo editor, which I think is perfectly fine for. I'm just not a fan of like that whole HDR look that sometimes even this Pocket 2 has, but especially for photography, I'm not a big fan of HDR. If I want to make that look, I want to be able to choose like that. But this, it kind of gives more of a flat photo, which I can work with later, and I do love that. But yeah, again, find me on Instagram at m8b9. You can email me at matt8b9@gmail.com. But yeah, this is what I'm going to be going for. So if you guys enjoyed this video, I'm definitely going to be shooting more of this. So if I get a good response, then I will be doing more videos just with this. But thank you guys. I will see you next time.